Hey, welcome. Hey, how is everybody doing? Welcome to my Thursday live, back here. I can't wait to be back today after my week of last week. If you are here live, please do pop a hey in the comments. Please do join me today and, say hey, and actually, if you're, join in, pop your hellos in the comments there. I know that you're here. So good to be back. Oh yay, we've got some little emojis things going on. I can't wait. I'm so excited to be back. Hey Marina, lovely to see you all coming in. If you are catching up on replay, do a hashtag replay. Today's one is going to be short and sweet, but packed with lots of tips, all my learnings from last week. So as you know, most of you know now. Hey Marie, lovely to see you. Most of you know that last week things didn't go quite to plan. So on the day that I was actually starting my 4-day From Stuck to Unstoppable training in a Facebook group that I created. Oh yeah, I'm so glad to be back, so good to be back. Then Facebook decided to actually restrict me from posting or actually commenting in any groups whatsoever, including the new group that I created just specifically for that training. So I'd got, hundreds of people in there and I actually couldn't communicate with them at all. So what actually often happens, when things don't go to plan, like it didn't for me last week, we can actually often find ourselves spiraling into a bad mood and really letting that situation affect us. Lovely to see you, Els. Thank you. Now, we're all human, aren't we? We are all human. We all have our bad days. Now, the trick is actually then to acknowledge that things can happen, that life happens, and just accept that this is a normal part of life and then be able to just move on anyway. So one of the things that I was really complimented on last week was how quickly I managed to turn the situation around. So I made the best of a bad situation was what somebody actually said to me. And how I managed to kind of shake off the bad stuff and enjoy the week anyway. And it was still an amazing week, I can tell you. It was still an amazing week. So many women actually just got so much value, and in fact actually I had a call with someone this morning and we were asking about what was the biggest things that they gained from it, and she actually said that literally after the 2 days she'd been stuck for months and months and months, and actually suddenly she generated got 3 clients and made 5k in income and everything, and she's on track to have a 10k month, over 10k month, and she'd never had that before, and she credits that with what happened last week in the training. She even actually said to me, I really feel like I should be paying you for that training last week, which is a really nice compliment from her. But it is that I do give a lot in my training, so it was so frustrating for me when, I love creating that community feel. I love actually engaging with people during that. I want to actually be able to say, what are your wins? How can I help you? I basically say use and abuse me as your coach for a week. And so it was incredibly frustrating when I wasn't able to do that. And community feel is what I really love the most. But, the fact that she could still say that even after, with all of the things, just shows that actually, nobody died last week. Things still went really, really well. So in today's live, I'm going to really show you just how you can reframe those bad days. When things really just don't go how you want them to go. And I'm going to give you just some simple techniques that you can keep in your own little toolbox for when things don't go to plan for you too. Because for me, because of my NLP coaching background, I've got a bunch of stuff that I can actually tap into when if I want additional resources. So I want to share some of those with you today. So please, first of all, also please comment and let me know if any of this resonates with you. If you've been having a bad day and then find that that things spiral out of control. You know, because we all do have them. We all have the bad days when, you know, like I said, things don't go how we want them to go. So we want to accept that they are going to happen, you know, but we don't want to be staying there. We don't want to be staying there. We don't want to wallow in that. We want to actually feel good, don't we? You know, that's the whole point of us being here, is that we want to feel good. I don't know anybody that actually goes, I really enjoy feeling sad and feeling bad. And actually, perhaps if you do enjoy that, we're definitely not on the same wavelength. You know, I know that most people want to feel good. They want to feel good. And that's one of the things that I'm able to do, that actually, you know, change states if you're not feeling so good, to actually, you know, be able to get back in control, if you like, get back into control of our own state. One of the things that in my Mega Success Mindset Accelerator program, my 12-week program, that we do, you know, we do this kind of stuff a lot. And sometimes what I find is that when we are really, really down and things are really not great and we're not feeling on our best state at all, then I often just ask people to, you know, say, well, you know, what's the best feeling that I can feel right now? So, because sometimes when we're really bad, so when I was really frustrated last week with my, you know, with what had happened with Facebook, actually to go to joy and be, ecstatic and be really, really happy was a massive gap, wasn't it? You know, I couldn't, you know, I know I've got these things that I can use, but I couldn't just flick it from one to the other like that. So often I will start off by saying, what's the best feeling I can feel right now? And then from that, you can move up and up and up. Because often what tends to happen is, you know, it can be this one thing after another thing. And we can get into, like I said, when I talk about this spiral, one thing, you know, you get up out of bed and, you know, you stub your toe, for instance, and then you burn your toast, and then, you know, if it's anything like me at the moment with the weather being so rubbish, you know, my cat comes in with wet paws all over the clean floor and things, you know, and things, it almost seems as if one thing happens after another. You know, again, like for me last Monday, I wasted a whole Monday morning trying to, you know, resolve these issues. So we want to have some little tricks up our sleeve to get us out of there before we do, you know, go down this spiral of a one thing leads to another. Have you ever had a day like that? Let me know in the comments if you've ever had a day like that, where you start off thinking, oh gosh, I feel, you know, I haven't had a good night's sleep, oh, it's raining, oh, I've got to, you know, I get stuck in a traffic jam, and, you know, literally one thing after another. So let me know. Yes, Marina, so it's something that happens to you. Anyone else that finds that you can kind of do that, you know, we can almost create things to happen because of our state of mind. And it actually can create like a cycle for us. So when we believe something's going to happen, so when we kind of wake up and go, oh, it's raining, that means I'm going to have a bad day. And then the rest of the day is, you know, becomes bad. We can get into a cycle of that, you know, when we really do, when we start off this thing with that one thing, oh, you know, I've stubbed my toe, oh, that means this, oh, that means I'm going to have an awful day now, oh, it's raining, I'm going to get stuck in traffic. And we can create that. We can actually create that for us. And don't get me wrong, this is, you know, humans, we do this. That's how we naturally think. So don't be under any illusions that it doesn't happen to me too. You know, it does. I think like that too, but I'm actually able to change them. So stuff happens, life happens, and it can get on top of us. Hey Brodwin, lovely to see you. You know, so stuff can happen, it can get on top of us, but the only way we'll move forward and get results is we've got to change that. So this is how we change it. Here's my kind of top techniques to change that when you go in, to stop you going in that spiral, to stop things getting from bad to worse type of thing. the first thing, take a step back. So this is all the stuff that I did last week. Take a step back and look at what you can control and let go of the rest. Often I see a lot with my clients, they're worrying about things that they can't do a thing about. You know, they're worrying about the what if this happens, what if that happens, you know, what if people do this and what if people do that. Don't worry about things that you can't control. So I had to have a look at what I could control last Monday morning. So the first thing was I tried to get hold of Facebook and actually find out why on earth I'd actually been blocked from going into groups, because they hadn't given me an explanation. They'd literally just stopped it. And it was obviously the day, you know, I'd had my group open for a couple of days, and it was the day that I was, I was doing the training. I couldn't get hold of anybody on Facebook. So I don't know whether anybody's had any problems with Facebook. And I've since found out there was quite a few people last week, so it wasn't just me that this happened to. You literally cannot get hold of anybody. You cannot get hold of one person. So, you know, I could have spent hours and hours keep on going to try and get hold of Facebook. It wasn't working. So there was no point in me worrying about the reasons why I'd been restricted. I had to look for a solution instead. So I looked at the things that I could do something about. I changed it around. I pivoted. I put in a solution that worked for everybody in the group. It worked for everybody in the group. It wasn't perfect by any means at all, but I did what I had to do. The brain loved looking for solutions. So rather than focusing on the problem and what I couldn't control, I looked at what I could do. So only focus on something that you can do something about. Also accept that it's totally normal to kind of have these, you know, like I said, life isn't just a straight line going hunky-dory. Accept that it's totally normal to have bad days. In NLP, we call it the law of duality. So this is about, you know, the polar opposites. You know, for every, you know, there's a yin and a yang. There's, you know, you can't have good without having bad. So accept that that's going to happen. You know, that again, that doesn't mean that you wallow in it and stay in the bad, but just know that it's part of life, that we are going to have these things happen. And we've actually got to be okay with every part of the scale. You know, so with lack and abundance, a lot of people focus on lack and keep going down the lack, spectrum, if you like. But we've just got to acknowledge that for lack, we've got to also know what abundance is. And for abundance, we've also got to know what lack is and be okay with it. Also, I think we can attach meaning to things. So it could easily, you know, a lot of people link things. So when things don't go to plan, for instance, then saying, oh, that means I'm rubbish, or that means I'm not good enough, or something of that line. You know, so they almost blame themselves and attach meaning to it. So instead of attaching meaning to it, just accept again that life's going to be up and down. We're going to have these things happen to us. So again, that acceptance of knowing that is key to actually being able to move forward. And it's all relative to you and how you see things as well, isn't it? So, you know, we've all got different versions of a bad day. It's all relative. You know, and actually what we do affects everything as well. So, you know, when I'm in a stressed state, it can actually affect how we see things as well. So, and that will be the same for you too. So there's the first couple of things. The next one is to share it. You know, it's a problem shared is a problem half, isn't it? That was one of the old sayings that I grew up with. Now, I'm very lucky that I've got a great team around me, and we literally became Suzanne James, you know, team Suzanne James Global last Monday. You know, we all worked together to sort this out as well. So it's great to actually be sharing your, the problems. I've got some really fab business buddies. I was out with them, some of my really close business buddies yesterday. And I love having, being around like-minded women that you can actually share things, you can be open, you can be vulnerable and honest. And I've come to really rely on those group of ladies, because one of the things that when I used to get migraines, I think for those of you that know me, I haven't had a migraine in over 6 years because of the work that I do and that I've done on myself. One of the things was that I used to push my feelings down, push them right down, holding on to them. When things were bad, I would just still keep holding on to those feelings. And actually, for me, it's sharing stuff that's going on. What we see is it's not, all this perfect, what we see on social media can convey this unhealthy image that everything is perfect for everybody. I've got my fab business ladies that we, share it. And I create that in the groups that I run as well. I make sure that it's surrounded by like-minded women that have each got each other's back. And, we help each other. Everybody gears everybody up. I create those in my program. So, the Mega Success that's starting in January, we've got a great bunch of ladies already signed up. So I know it's going to be fantastic anyway, because I seem to attract those types of women. But I know that they will go on to create, a group together, if you like. And I've got a mastermind, and I know they're really close to each other as well. And it's really important that you've got somebody that you can do that with. So Brodwyn, you used to be like that, yeah. And what was the effects of it? I know for me, it was damaging to my health. It's still something I have to work on. I'm great with my, when I meet up with my lady, my business buds. I'm not always so open at being vulnerable. It's something when my mum died, I parked that. It was too raw to deal with, and I parked that. So it is something that I still work on, I have to say. Okay, so onwards and upwards. The next one is to shift your state and your energy. Do something that energizes you. Because if you stay in the same state that something has happened, you're then anchoring that. So if I'd have kept in that same state, feeling frustrated, peed off, to be perfectly honest, with what was going on, because we couldn't, understand it, and it was affecting my team members as well, because they also got restricted. So, if we stay in that same state that something has happened, we would have gone down the loop again, and you're anchoring that bad state. So do something different. Do whatever, whatever works for me might not work for you. I know for me, I went for a walk, I took a break, I actually listened to some music for a little bit. I've got something as well called a sensate. So it's like a vibrating thing that I also put on actually there. And I went off and did 10 minutes on my sensate as well. So find out what it is for you. But the important thing is to get away from the environment that you're in that's causing the negative state. You've got to flip it. You've got to come out of it. And we can do that really quickly. I've also got little essential oils. So I put my essential oils on. I got sage. So I went round and saged the room for, all the time as well. So, find the things that work for you to flip you out of that. Get away from what you're doing, and that energizes you. Again, in my Mega Success Mindset Accelerator, we create a high vibe list. So they do it, they have it in their their books that they their notebooks, and they put it at the back. So they have their high vibe list, and that any time then that something is happening that brings them down, they have their go-to things. So like I said, for me, going for a walk, exercising, listening to music, my essential oils, saging, they're all the things that do it for me. And then, throw it all at. I needed everything thrown at it last Monday, I have to say. So I was literally doing everything. So find the thing that works for you and then go back to your high vibe list. And the important thing there is to get you out of that state as quickly as possible. So not to be wallowing in it. It's actually making the change to do that. Broadwinner, so it's knitting for you. Perfect. So you find the thing for you that works for you. Yeah, Als, I love sage too. So it was my big one last week, getting rid of the window was open. It was all going, all the negative stuff was going out there. The next one is also to ask yourself, how do you want to feel? And you know, what can you do to change how you feel? You know, take the action. It can actually only be changed by doing those physical things. Actually, deciding what can you do to make my day get better. Because we could sit there and go, do you know what? It started off rubbish. This is only going to be a bad day all the way through. I might as well just resign myself to it. It's going to be a bad day. And we could do that. And sometimes, you know, having a PJ day and a resting day, that's absolutely fine. But don't wallow in everything that's, you know, going on for you. Do something. I love Gabby Bernstein. And she has some really great, you know, I always, for her, I go back to her book. She's somebody that gets me out. And she always says, you know, how do you want to feel? Say how you want to feel. And then the last one for you today, for, you know, when things don't go to plan, is actually to reflect on what's happened. Reflect on what's actually happened and put it a little bit into context. So as I said at the beginning there, everyone still had an amazing week and we got fantastic results from people. You know, like I said, with the lady I spoke to this morning, she's had amazing financial results. We've had other results as well in there. People have got from stuck, that they've been stuck for ages and really have changed that around. So everyone still had an amazing week. Nobody died. So I also have a belief. Because my belief is that things often don't go to plan, but it still turned out how it's supposed to be. And what I mean by that is, you know, it's a belief for me that there's something better out there for you, and there's still maybe some lessons to be learned. The lessons I learned about what happened last week is to not be so reliant on Facebook. You know, that actually, you know, I spent some time planning for next year, working on my vision board for next year. And how actually I may, you know, I'm going to work more on LinkedIn next year to do that. So it was a way for me to go, actually, at the moment, I've put a lot of my eggs in one basket. So I actually, you know, when I reflect on it, okay, yeah, it started off a pretty stressful morning on Monday, but it turned out perfectly well. I've had some amazing, you know, I had amazing women that actually did that training. And I've had amazing women that then have decided they want to continue the momentum that they got with the results that they got last week. And they want to go on to the Mega Success Mindset Accelerator program in January. So I've already got amazing women already signed up for that. So, you know, just think about that as well, that actually sometimes, you know, what actually it then turns out to be is what it's supposed to have been anyway. You know, and we can change that around. So I hope you found that really useful. You know, please save this video and, you know, use it for when you have got a bad day. Do let me know, you know, what your biggest ahas were for that today. Like I said, all lessons learnt from last week, that's for sure. And I hope you found it useful. Do know as well, please do message me with any ahas, what your biggest takeaways are, and also know that you know, there's actually, I'm just reading Brodwyn's message. You meant to say happen, not happy, this phone. I can't remember. Oh, happen in your life. Just, yeah, okay, I'm with you. I've got you now. I was thinking what it was. Yeah, phones and typing. I know what you mean. There are 2 places left still on my Mega Success Mindset Accelerator. We start in January. This is really going to be, it's an accelerated program, 12 weeks of full on to actually get you to the results that you want to get, laying those mindset foundations. So again there, you can keep on moving forward and you'll have these tools and techniques if things are not going to plan. So do let me know if that's something that is of interest to you. I'd love to speak to you about that. We can jump on a call, we can have a virtual coffee and do that. Anyway, I did say it was going to be a short and sweet one. I've still taken the half an hour. I still like to talk, don't I? As you all found out last week. Let me know your ahas and I will see you again next week. See you later, guys. Bye for now.